Hey folks, Carl here and welcome to episode 1 of Amusing Models FV215b in brackets 183 for those of you who play World of Tanks, otherwise known as the Deathstar. Okay folks, so as I mentioned in the What's in the Box video, we are going to go and do the tracks first. So I've split them out into two piles with 98 links in each pile, and we do have several spares, which is a good thing because you never know, we might lose some or we might want to add some onto the body. So first thing we're going to do is going to take the first pile and we are going to separate them from the small little sprues. Now looking at these, it doesn't look like we're going to have to do any type of cleanup, because if I zoom in to about there so you can see it, so the part that we're going to be cutting off right inside here is actually hidden when we come to put them together. So I'm going to zoom back out for a moment to about there. So if we cut this off nice and neatly, closely as we can. So one cut there, another cut there, I'll put that one down a minute, cut there, and a cut there, and when we come to put these together, we'll zoom in again. Now it's a little bit awkward to put together. I know this because I've already done a couple of pieces of the spares we had. They quite literally just push together and it should go with a bit of a click, and they are locked in, and the part we've cut off there is actually hidden by a second piece. So I've got a piece in here that I've already started, like I said, so there's already 4 together there. The part where we've cut off, you can see it, we can focus, come on, there we go, just push this onto there like so. It's hidden and we are starting to get a track together, and by the looks of it we're not going to have to glue it. It's not the strongest, but it is going to do. So there we go, see, it falls apart if you bend it too much. So I'm going to go and get all these cut off the sprue, get them put together and see what we end up with, how flexible it actually is. So I shall be back in a moment. Okay folks, so that is one side done, but you can see it looks like there's a very slight curve outwards. So I'm just going to see with the ruler if I straighten that up, if I had a straight ruler of course, if it is going to break it up. So no, that's reasonably solid. There's a few of the links in there that are quite weak, and they will just very little amount of pressure at all, they will pull apart. That's because the pins that are on these that hold it together are quite small, and a couple of them have actually snapped. There's a tiny little pin just inside there and it snaps, so we will just have to be extra careful and extra vigilant while we're painting and stuff, and while we're putting it all together. And there will probably end up being a few that we are going to need to glue together, because I doubt very much I'll be able to pick that up as one piece without it falling apart, which is a shame. I really expected these to stay together and be quite solid, but hey ho, never mind, we can use them in pieces like so, and when we come to lay them on the tank we can do it that way. So I'm going to get the rest of this all built up, and I shall speak to you when that is done. Okay folks, so we have been moving on with the tracks, and I noticed as I've been building it up that I have been rushing it, and that's been causing me to damage the tiny little nubs that are on the track. So this one we have taken off the ones I've damaged, put it back together, and as you can see it stays together a lot better. Now 14 in total. I damaged the very small nub that's on the end. If I zoom right in, always the wrong way, if I zoom right in there as far as I can without it losing focus, right in there, there's a tiny little nub that you can see, and as I was pushing these tracks together I was damaging that nub. Now if I get a good one out of this pot, hopefully you'll be able to see the difference. So you should be able to see that nub on there. That's what we've been damaging, and if you're careful while you're pushing these together, and I mean really careful, you are literally slightly pushing them together, so it's tilt it like so, push one side in and then very carefully push the other side in, give it a wiggle to make sure that nub has sat in the right place, and it does in fact become a very sturdy track. Here's one we have already finished. So if I push these together using the same principle I've just talked about, very carefully, so it clicks and clicks, just make sure they're in place. These do become very sturdy tracks. Can I zoom out a little bit more? No. And you can actually spin it on your finger and it will not come apart. Like so. You can see it's very almost, it is fragile. If I was to really give this a good yank, they would fall to pieces, but if you can manhandle it, you can fold it up, take it apart, take one link out and roll it up like you would a set of metal tracks. They really are quite sturdy. So when you come to do yours, if you do come to do one of these, just take your time, put them together one link at a time. Yes, it does take a little bit longer. Just take that one link, very gently, one side first so it clicks in, then the other, very gently click, get it to click, give it a wiggle to make sure it's seating right, and they become, I'll give you that quite a bit of a tug to try and pull that apart, and it will not come apart. So I damaged 14 of them thankfully there was 14 spares in the kit. What are the chances of that? Of course there was this one as well, but this one looks like it's been a short mould and we haven't gotten the full tracks there. So there we go. Take your time, gentle while you're putting it together, and it'll be sturdy once it's built. So all as I've got left to build is this one, this last small part, and that is the tracks done, and we're going to move on to the next part. So I shall talk to you in a moment. Okay folks, so tracks are done. They're just over here waiting to be painted, and we have moved on to the wheels. Now here are the component parts of one wheel set, which looks a little something like this. We've done one so far. So the wheels still turn and everything's connected and solid, and as you can see we've got that metal spring in there, so we do have an active and movable suspension, so it should be interesting. So I am going to get these parts cleaned up, and of course we're going to need a little bit of super glue and some kicker along with our Tamiya Extra Thin. We'll come back once this lot's clean and I'll show you how we put that bogey together. So talk to you in a moment. Okay folks, we have our pieces all cleaned up and made up. We've got our three wheels, we've got the two parts of the suspension, we've got our wheel nuts holding the wheels in place, and we've got the spring. So first and foremost we're going to install the spring. So I'm going to zoom you in a little bit to around about there should do, I think. Let's have a look. Yep, so take our super glue and we're going to just put a very small dollop on the side of this, like so. Let that work its way around. So it's all around. Get our spring. Put the spring on like so. We're going to make sure that glue is all around. We're then going to stand it up on its head like so. Make sure it's in the centre as much as we can, and then we're going to give it a quick spray with the accelerator, this stuff. Just a very quick spray, blow to get that off, and that should now be on there solid. So we're going to do exactly the same with the other side. Get a little bit of glue on there, very small drop like so, let it soak around, getting that groove. We're then going to make sure we get the two pieces the same way around. Get that super glue on there, make sure it's all the way around. I'm going to stand it up and hold it as best, central as best we can, like so. And then again, a very quick spray with the accelerator. Blow that, and that is that now complete and together. And this sits on, you look at it like so and you think it's going to have all the detail facing outwards, but it doesn't. It has all the detail facing in. It confused me a little bit at the start, because why would you have all that nice detail hidden at the back? But it goes this way here, so when we come to put the brackets and everything in, they're going to be sitting like so. So next I'm going to put on the cover, and this literally just sits on those two pins. Let's zoom in again. Sits on those two pins there and this bit at the top. So I am going to get my, first and foremost, I'm going to put the lid on my super glue to stop it from drying out and getting gooey. So I'm going to get some of the Tamiya Extra Thin. I'm going to put two very small dots inside there, just to fill that up, because we do not want it touching these two parts here, we just want it touching that. I'm going to turn it over, I'm going to push it onto there, give that a few moments of pressure, let it dry, Make sure it's solid, make sure this still moves, like so. So that is all good. We can then get the extra thin and we can go around this edge. Get some glue in there, like so, and then we can give it a few more seconds of pressure with your fingers. And that is now on there and solid as well. So next is going to be the wheels, and again, oh, ice cream man's here. You look at the wheels here, there's a little bit of detail in there, rivets and such, so you think this again would be on the outside. Focus. There we go, on the outside of the wheel, but it's not, it's on the inside, because this spoke actually sits inside that circle there, like so. Now what I've done when I was cleaning this up is I've taken a very small part of that inside edge off, so it sits inside this groove a little bit better, like so. And all we're going to do, take our extra thin, we're going to put a very small amount just on the inside of there, and take our wheel, and we're just going to push this in as far as we can, like so. Hold it for a few seconds and we should be able to still turn the wheel, like so, but it should be on and solid. I'm not going to put it hard because it's still going to be soft, but that wheel still turns. So rinse and repeat for the other side. Get that in there ready. A very small amount of glue on the inside of there. We don't want any on the outside or on the upper edge, because it will grip the wheel and glue the wheel. Again, push that in. A few seconds of pressure. While you're holding the pressure, see if that wheel will turn, and it does. Just like so. And then when you let go, both wheels turn. And again, it's exactly the same for the top wheel. Now, the part that sticks out is this side. Focus. Yeah, is this side, not this side. So we will put our spoke in there. Now this one is a little bit more awkward. It's a little bit of a tighter fit. But we're going to do exactly the same. Very small amount of glue inside of there, and that's it. And again, we're going to push this like so. See if it holds. A little bit of pressure on there. And we shall leave that to dry. This one's a little bit softer, a little bit smaller, a little bit more awkward. I've got a feeling in this one it does very slowly, gently turn. So there we go, that is that bogie now finished with full suspension. So we now have two. Let's zoom out a little bit. There we go. So we now got two complete. So 2 down, 6 to go. So I'm going to carry on and I'll talk to you in a moment. Okay folks, that is the bogies all done. There's a couple where the wheels are still a little bit stiff, but they all move. So we are now moving on to the lower hull, and we've made a start already, and we've put these braces on and we put one bogie on. Now the braces are very specific in which way they go. You can see at the bottom here there's a little notch, and that's there for a very specific reason. Because when you come to put the bogie on, those notches are the stops for the suspension to stop them coming down too far. So Make sure you get all these pointing in the right directions. Pay particular attention to the instructions to make sure you get them the right way round, and some of them have some quite big holes in them, so I put a dab of sprue goo in, left it to dry, and then sanded it down. So to put these in, it's literally get this, these will move up and down like so. Locator on the back which will fit perfectly into this slot, so make sure that the bracket parts go on top like so, and it will slot into place. So you can see we've got that one in the on the wrong side, so we need to take it back out, manipulate it a little bit more to make sure it is on the top side, so it actually moves and then sits down and rests on that part. Make sure it's seated nice and well in that groove, and then just a very quick touch to mere glue one side. Let the capillary action take the glue into the seam like so. Give that a few seconds, and then very quickly put another little bit of glue on the top seam up there. Again, let the capillary action do the work. Take the glue around the seam, and then it's just a matter of leaving that to dry. And we should be able to let go of that now, and it should hold itself in position. So we are going to get the rest of these bogies in like so. Get the other side done as well, and then we will look at the front and the back. That will be the lower hull complete. So I'm going to get these bits on, and then we'll take a look at the front, which is this side, and the back this side. So I shall talk to you in a moment. Okay folks, wheels are now all on and in place, and all the suspension is now working, and we have started to put on the rear drive sprocket, and we've got that so it moves as well. We are now currently just putting the other side together. Nothing overly difficult with this, apart from this very small exhaust piece on the bottom right here. Now you have to make sure you put it on the right side, because there are locations top and bottom to put this on, and when this sits on the model there are two locating pins on the underside. I keep dropping this piece all over the place, and they correspond with these grooves here, and this part sits in those grooves and it pushes upwards to the top of those grooves. It sits like that, and you have to make sure that that exhaust part is sitting at the bottom there. So we are going to get extra thin, a dot there and a dot there, that's all as we need. Take this part, get into the grooves and slide it up to the top. Hold it in position for a few moments. That glue take grip. I'm just going to put a very small amount on the back here, just to give it a bit more sticking power. So that is now glued and in place. Now to get this back drive sprocket on, we're going to be doing exactly the same principle as we did on the bogies. So I'm going to get this glued together. Again, there's two locating pins on this as well. One side is bigger than the other, so you can't get it the wrong way around. So in you go, like so. A little bit of glue, touch the seam, let the capillary action take it around, give that a few moments to dry, and we'll leave that to one side a second. So what we're going to do, same as we did with the bogie, we're going to put a little bit of glue on the inside of here. We are also going to use a very small amount of sprue goo, because this is quite loose in there. You can see the gap, and it wiggles quite a lot. So what I did with this side is I put a little bit of sprue goo on the edge of here, very, very, very small amount. So we are going to push that through there. We'll put that there to one second. Get a little bit of Artemia extra thin. Get it on the inside of that connection, like so. We are then going to get our sprue goo, and we're going to put, he says, as everything falls to pieces, get that back through there. We are just going to put a very, very small amount right on the leading edge of this connection. And I mean a very, very small amount. If we put too much on, it'll just slide up the shaft of this and move into the cog. So now that we have that, like so, we're going to push it in, give it a bit of a wiggle about. We're going to hold it there for a few seconds. You don't want it too tight that it grips the wheel completely. It's a matter of playing with it until you're happy with it, and that is staying in place. So, and then it's a matter of leaving it alone for a couple of hours. So that now is on in place. We should be able to move it gently, and the centre spoke should stay perfectly still. There we go. So I'm going to put this to one side and try my best not to touch it for at least an hour. So that is all that done. So we finished this page. We're now moving on to getting the front panel on with the idler wheels. So I'm going to get those parts prepped and ready. Doesn't look anything unusual or too difficult, apart from you can adjust the angles. So we'll take a look at that. If there's any issues or problems with it, I shall start filming again. We shall take a look. So, talk to you in a moment. Okay folks, we are moving on with the front plate now. There's nothing unusual or difficult so far about this. Up to this point, it's just a matter of putting the pieces where they need to go. Now, the difficult part now is going to be connecting these wheels to this part. Now, where the arms go to support these wheels, like so, does not have a fixed position, so we could pretty much glue that anywhere we want to, and we want to make sure that these wheels are in the correct position. So we are not going to put the wheels on as it shows you in the instructions, because we want to know where they need to go correctly. So we are going to attach this front panel, make sure we get it the right way round, so that goes to the bottom like so. So we are going to attach this front panel as it is. I'm going to get that glued in. Just like so. Now we'll go around the rest of the panels and make sure it is glued and secure. Making sure we don't rip anything off as we're manhandling it, which I am pretty prone to doing. So when this is dry, what we're going to do is we are going to get the tracks on, and then we are going to try and position these wheels. Let me use this hand. I'm going to get these wheels connected. We'll put that down. Get these wheels connected, because we can put the spoke through the wheel like so, and we can push it onto this without having to glue it. We can then manipulate these into the correct position to make the tracks as tight or as loose as we want them, and we can then glue it in place, and we should still be able to pull these off if we want to and get the tracks off, etc. So I am going to leave, I'm going to put a bit more glue on this, and we're going to leave this to dry for 20 minutes, and we'll come back and we'll see how we get that done. So I shall talk to you in a moment. Okay folks, that is those wheels on. Now I've not recorded it because it was phenomenally awkward to do, but I did exactly as I said. I put the wheel in with the rod I then connected the track onto it, moved it in position, and there was just enough space to get my brush in there and apply a little dab of glue. We held it in position for a few moments, wait till it had dried up a little bit, and hey presto, I didn't repeat it on the other side. I just looked for the position that this side was in and duplicated it on the other side. So this is now fully movable. So if we put it on the deck here, I have to apply a little bit of pressure, but it will roll forwards and back, and the track does move. So happy days, that is now done. I'm going to get those tracks off of there, and we are going to do the final little part on the lower hull, which is going to be the back plate. Now there's not a huge amount to do on this, just a few pieces to put onto the back and then gluing it into position on the back. So I shall get that done. We'll see where we go from there. So I shall see you in a moment. Okay folks, that is the back panel completed. Nothing unusual or difficult to do on the back of there, and it's now glued in place. And as you can see, I've taken the tracks off for now. So that is the lower hull of the FV215b183 complete. So no idea how long this video has been going on for, so I am going to call that part 1 complete. So as always, thank you very much for watching. Be good, be safe, and as always, keep making models. I'll see you next time. Ta-ta.